All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with our misdemeanor calendar for this Saturday, October 26, 2024. This is the calendar involving individuals who were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon after that, the cases were formally accused by the prosecutor, who is the Solicitor General of Fulton County. Therefore, this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When I call your case, please remember your rights. The first one being, of course, your right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. Remember that this virtual court proceeding is not only recorded, but also live streamed. So if you have anything to ask or say, please consult with the attorney with whom you've spoken. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. All right, now our reset date, Ms. Atay and I'm not sure, Ms. Desiano, Ms. Bickerstaff, the attorneys, Ms. Cook, and I'm not sure who else is here from the Public Defender's Office. Our reset date is going to be November 7th at 9 a.m. in court, and that's also going to be a virtual proceeding. So we'll need a Zoom link for that. Okay, courtroom 2, who should we begin with?
Number 3, Ms. Doby.
Thank you. This is Janaea Doby. The case number is 24CR007266J. Ms. Doby has been accused of loitering and prowling from October 24th of this year. Ms. Doby, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be...
I am, Your Honor. Good morning.
Oh,
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the sea of Zoom pad. Okay, there we go. Mr. Tay, all right. And Mr. Howard, any prize?
Second, got an open trespass damage, terrorist threats. It's 24CR006470J. You gave her pretrial. That was back in September.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Good afternoon, Judge. This incident took place yesterday, the 24th at 3353 Park Lane. This is the Cascade Park subdivision around 11:15 at night. Officers responded to the location because the residents in the subdivision reported several people breaking into vehicles. Upon arrival, multiple neighbors were pointing to the back of the neighborhood where they were told there were 4 or 5 individuals that were breaking into cars. The officer drove to the back of the neighborhood, made contact with the defendant. She said she did not live in the area. She was visiting a friend nearby. However, she couldn't articulate where the friend lived or their name. The officer then saw other individuals fleeing the scene. The defendant was then placed under arrest for loitering, at which point she was Mirandized and then said that she was with a man she met at the MARTA station earlier that day, and the person that she was with was pulling on vehicle handles and entering unlocked vehicles. She claimed she did not know the other 2 people that were involved. The state's requesting a $1,000 surety bond, Your Honor. Stay away from the Cascade Park subdivision off Cascade Park Boulevard. That's that entire neighborhood where she was. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Thank you.
Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 17 years old. She is a high school senior. She lives with her mother. Her mother's on the call now. this is her second arrest. The first incident, another case, was with her mother, an incident in the home, and her mother tells me that is being resolved right now.
Yes,
She
Janelle
does have,
Horton.
yes, she does have a 1-year-old child. I would ask for, and she doesn't work, Your Honor. She's a high school senior.
Mhm.
I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services, and her mother can co-sign that. She does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. She didn't run away. Apparently, there were other people who were maybe doing things that they ran away. She didn't. So I would ask for a pretrial bond for her, Your Honor.
All right. This is a new case, 266J. Ms. Janelle Horton, did you have anything to add?
Hello. The only thing I have to add, she's been doing better since we've had our incident. The reason she was out that day is because her and her little sister got into it real bad and she left the house to avoid confrontation. And then that's when I got a call about this. I know she's been going to school and she's paid for the window because, like said before, she does have another case, but that is with me. She broke my window.
Okay.
And she has paid for it since, you know.
So this is the funny thing about signature bonds, especially through pretrial services like the one she got previously,
Yeah.
that one of the conditions is you cannot be arrested.
Okay.
And when you get arrested, your signature bond gets revoked. And please stop walking.
Okay. I'm sitting down. I'm moving out of the room. Yes, ma'am.
The signature bond gets revoked and converted to a surety bond. So in a previous case involving you, Ms. Horton, she was given a 4,500 signature bond. That was a signature bond through pretrial. Due to the new arrest, that is now surrendered and amended to a 4,500 surety bond. On this new charge, her bond's going to be 500. So in order for her to be released, she needs to post a $5,000 surety bond in total. Her next court date for both cases is going to be November 7th, 2024. And she is to stay 200 yards away from the entire Cascade Park apartments. Thank you.
Position number 5, Ms. McClure.
Position number 5, okay. Psychesia McClure is accused of driving while license suspended or revoked and following too closely from October 25th. Ms. McClure, your case number is 24CR 7269E. You have been advised of your rights and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Mr. Howard, any prize?
I got open battery DV out of state court, open burglary, armed robbery, ag assault, firearm possession out of Superior Court. No driving related arrest.
All right, thank you. Ms. Daciano?
Your Honor, she also has an open cruelty to animals case where a bench warrant's been issued, 21 CR 4937. This incident took place on the 25th. There was a car accident at 1225 West Wesley Road. The defendant told police that she rear-ended the vehicle in front of her. She was at fault and her license came back suspended when the officer ran it. There were no injuries. Your Honor, as far as her criminal history is concerned, there are no driving arrests on her GCIC. However, she does have several failure to appears on her driving history through DDS. She's got currently, from what I can tell, 3 active cases that she has failed to appear on all of them. And from, looks like her license has been suspended since 2022. And then, of course, she has that bench warrant from the open matter in state court and those open felony cases. So we would ask for a $1,000 surety on the driving while license suspended and 500 surety on the following too close. No driving without a valid license, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 28 years old. She is the mother to 4 minor children, ages 7, 4, 2, and 1. She has lived in Georgia all her life. She has strong ties to the community. She's not a flight risk. She states that her address did recently change. She has updated it with the clerk of the court, and I do see that her current address is on file. She didn't receive notice. She has a $500 bond on the failure to appear for the animal cruelty. She tells me that she just didn't receive notice for that. And she has appeared for hearings for open cases as recently as November of this year.
For what?
I think for the burglary, the open burglary case, where she says that squatters were in her home and she had to enter when she came back from out of town. But that's an unrelated case, but she has tried to stay on top of it. She did go to the warrant clinic to have a warrant cleared March of May of this year. So she's trying to stay on top of her court dates and has updated her address. I would ask on the driving while license suspended that a signature bond be set. I mean, it's a fender bender. She was arrested, I think, just because of the failure to appear, not the driving incident. And the following too closely, again, I would ask for a signature bond to be set on that. And I don't know if your honor is willing to address the failure to appear, but that bond is set at $500. I would ask for a signature bond on that since she has updated her address and she can't afford any bond, your honor. I'm asking for a signature bond on the FTA and the 2 new misdemeanor charges so that she can be released to care for her 4 children who are right now with her 74-year-old paraplegic great grandmother.
Okay. On the driving while suspended, that's going to be $1,000 surety. Following too closely is $500. The total bond is $1,500 surety bond. Once she makes bond, please remember no driving until she has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. Thank you. Next court date is November 7. Was it Miss Champion who is assisting us today? Yes, Miss Champion, can we reset Miss McClure's case along with the other state court case for battery?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next is position 9 and 10, Presley.
Okay. This is Shaniqua Presley, accused of battery from November 5th, 2023. And she's got a subsequent case for battery and simple assault from March 20th, 2024. Ms. Presley, the first case is 24 CR 7279A, and the second one ends with 7280A. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Tamisha Cook. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
I got first.
All right. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, these are 2 incidents involving the same victim. The victim is Hernandez Kilgore. He is the on-again, off-again boyfriend of the defendant. The first incident that took place in November 2023 took place at the Nikki's Smoke Rooms at 5495 B9 Old National. The victim cleans the parking lot there. He was working when she arrived at his place of employment. She was irate. She was causing a disturbance. The victim told her to leave. She did initially, and then she returned and attacked him. She started punching him repeatedly in the face. He tried to stop her and fell on the ground, and then the defendant got on top of him and started biting him several times. It's my understanding that she only successfully bit him one time, but tried to bite him several times. The victim had scratches on his arms and a laceration on his forehead, and he was bleeding. In the second incident that happened in March of this year, 4655 Old National Highway, same victim. He advised he was hanging out with the defendant. He told her he didn't want to be with her anymore. She became irate, threw an ashtray at him. The ashtray missed him. She then started striking him in the face with an unknown sharp object. The victim had several small lacerations to his face. We've not been in touch with Mr. Kilgore yet today. We're asking for a $1,000 surety bond on each count, Your Honor. So that would be $1,000 on the first case and $2,000 on the second case. No contact, stay away from both incident locations. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And if Your Honor is inclined to give her a signature bond through pretrial, then we would also ask for anger awareness. And we're also requesting a BHET. And if Your Honor can sound for Mr. Kilgore, thank you.
Mr. Hernandez Kilgore, this will be the time to start your video and unmute. I see someone called ePort, an iPhone 311, another iPhone, no Kilgore. Okay, Ms. Cook?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Afternoon.
Ms. Presley is 33 years old. As pretrial services says, she has no criminal convictions. She's a high school graduate, previously employed at North Fulton Hospital and Arby's. She's been in Georgia all her life. Your Honor, we are asking for a signature bond. She has absolutely no issues with not having any contact with Mr. Kilgore. I just want to remind the court that she is presumed innocent unless and until the state can meet their burden beyond a reasonable doubt. So we're not going to get into the allegations other than to mention that she does deny all the allegations and the warrants against her. So we would be asking the court for a signature bond on both cases. Thank you.
Thank you. On position 9, the battery charge is going to be $1,500. On position 10, the battery is $1,500 and the simple assault is $500. The total bond is going to be $3,500, and that's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 2. She can sign up for her bond today, but she needs to report to pretrial twice a month. No further contact with Hernandez Kilgore. She's to stay 200 yards away from him and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner, including in person, through any kind of phone or computer device, and even on social media. While she's out on a signature bond, she will attend and complete one anger awareness program. She will not consume any alcohol and no illegal drugs, and will be subject to random screens. The next court date will be sent to her current address, so it's very important that Ms. Presley maintains a current mailing address with the clerk of court. Thank you.
Number 12, Mr. Statham.
I don't think Ms. Presley understood what a signature bond is, so hopefully someone will explain that to her. Shire Staten is accused of battery from July 29th, 2024. Ms. Case number is 24 CR 7276B. Ms. Staten, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Cook.
11 total. History come out of Florida. 2017 suspended license dismissed. 2013 robbery, fleeing, petty theft conviction. That's it.
Ms. Desiano?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This
Oh,
is
sorry.
actually my case.
All right, Ms. Bickerstaff, good afternoon. Yes, and what's the recommendation for Ms. Staten?
Yes, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond and to have no further contact with Stephanie Murphy. Just briefly, Your Honor, on July 29th, 2024 at 1003 Fair Street, officers spoke with the defendant who stated that she was struck by her neighbor's girlfriend, Miss Stephanie Murphy. She stated that Miss Murphy punched her several times, and the defendant stated that the neighbor, his name is Tyrone, and the defendant were arguing, and that's when Miss Murphy came to punch her several times. A detective looked into the incident and was able to contact Miss Murphy, and Miss Murphy told officers that the defendant pushed her first and then pulled her hair, and then she admitted to punching her several times. So that is the reason for today's bond. Your Honor, I do not believe Miss Murphy is on Zoom, but I would like to sound for her.
Stephanie Murphy? All right, I don't see her. Ms. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Staten, give me 1 second. She's 33 years old. She's been in Georgia for the last 6 years, Judge. She has completed high school and some college. She is employed at Tech Mojo, which is a warehouse. It's my understanding, Your Honor, she does actually deny these allegations against her. It's my understanding that there is another situation where she is listed as the victim. I don't have the case number, but it's my understanding that Ms. Staten does have paperwork where she's called the police multiple times in reference to this incident. As it relates to not having contact with the victim, it's my understanding that Miss Stephanie Murray is not on an actual lease out there, but she does live in close proximity to Miss Staten. And occasionally they do have to, I guess, walk past each other in order for Miss Dayton to get to her home since she lives on the backside. So she doesn't have any problem with the no contact as long as it's clear that she does have to walk past to get to her home where she has where she's on the lease. We will be asking, Your Honor, for a signature bond on this matter. Although she does have 11 cycles, it's my understanding that she really hasn't had anything for like the last 8 years. She intends to continue to come to court and fight these charges against her. So for those reasons, Your Honor, we would be asking for a signature bond.
So how far apart do they live?
It's my understanding that Miss Stephanie Murray has some dealings with Miss Dayton's neighbor, and they is very close. Like Miss Dayton's apartment is on the back side, and I believe the neighbor is maybe like around the front, so she has to walk.
But Miss Murphy does not live there. She just comes to the
Murphy is not on the. It's my understanding is Miss Murphy is not on any of the leases. She comes frequently to visit Miss Dayton's neighbor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Shar Staten, your bond is going to be set at $3,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. You will report to pretrial twice a month. You are not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not own or possess any firearms or weapons. You are to have no further contact with Stephanie Murphy. You can return and live in your own apartment. Is that the one on Fair Street? Is that her address, Fair Street? I'm sorry, everyone's muted.
Yes, Your Honor, that is her address.
Okay, she can continue to live there. But if Miss Murphy comes a calling, she needs to go back into her apartment or leave the premises immediately. It's either or. But Miss Staten has to understand that since she now has an active criminal case against her, it's her responsibility to make sure that she is nowhere in sight when Miss Murphy comes to visit her neighbor. So it's no further contact with Stephanie Murphy with the specific restriction while she's at home. Thank you. Her next court date will be sent to her current mailing address.
Number 15, Woodard.
This is State versus, oh, goodness. Well, Mr. Jordan, please put Shante Goodwin back in the waiting room. Why would you put your children on a screensaver in a criminal calendar? Come on, people, use some common sense. Thank you. Miss Rosa Woodard is accused of simple assault from September 17th, 2024. Her case number is 24 CR 007-277E. Miss Woodard, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Miss Cook. And
4 total, 2016 suspended license, 2014 obstruction.
all right, thank you. Miss Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So on September 17th of this year at 1306 Cahaba Drive, officers spoke with a Miss Tanisha Nellam, who advised that they were at her house and the defendant asked Miss Tanisha's son to help get groceries out of the car. The defendant began arguing with Miss Tanisha Nellam, and then she went inside her home to grab an object, and it turned out to be a machete. The defendant began threatening to cut Tanisha Nellam and swinging it around at her property. 2 neighbors told officers that they saw the defendant holding what appeared to be a machete, and another neighbor told officers the object looked to be a pointy stick. Your Honor, the DA's office declined to accept this as a felony upgrade for aggravated assault, but the state's recommendation is a $6,000 surety bond for the defendant to complete 4 anger management courses and to have no further contact with Tanisha Nellam, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. I do not believe Ms. Nellam is on Zoom, but I would like to sound for her at the appropriate time.
All right, Tanisha Nellam? I'm sorry, is that a signal she wants to say something? Courtroom 2?
No. Oh, no, I'm fanning. She was hot.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. All right, Miss Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Woodard is 63 years old. She actually does have a congestive heart failure and has a surgery scheduled for early next year. She definitely denies these allegations against her. It's my understanding that Miss Nellum was in a romantic relationship with Miss Woodard's son. And since then, I believe that the relationship has ceased. And it's also my understanding that the complaining witness has a history of mental illness. It's also my understanding, Judge, that Ms. Woodard actually was the one who initially called 911 in attempts to get Ms. Nellum to leave her property. Several times the officers, for whatever reason, didn't do anything. And I do want to be clear that they do live 2 doors down from each other. There's a home in between Miss Woodard's house and Miss Nellum's house. Miss Woodard has lived in this area for over the last 50 years. She has strong ties to Georgia. She recently, I'm not exactly sure the procedural has this guy here, because previously, back on October the 15th, she actually was on a Zoom call for matters related to this, and that matter, because the victim did not appear, was reset to November 19th. In the meantime, she was arrested and now in jail for said charges. She does walk with a cane. I just wanted that to be clear. And as we were talking about some of the specific details, although we do definitely deny all the allegations, I mentioned to her about some of the neighboring witnesses, and she has strong reasonings for why said witnesses would be less credible later on when she takes this to trial. So for those reasons, Your Honor, we are asking for a signature bond. Just to reiterate, the purpose of bond is just to make sure that Ms. Woodard returns to court and she's not a danger to herself or others. And like I said, she's been in this area in Georgia for more than 50 years. She is retired. She has 2 associate degrees. She's retired from being a store operations manager and currently does do some part-time work at a local boutique. So I don't think there's going to be any problems with her in terms of showing back up for court. She has no issues with not having contact with Miss Nellum. So we will be asking the court for a signature bond with conditions.
$3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No further contact with Tanisha Nellum. Ms. Woodard, you are now under a restriction. You can return to your home, but if Miss Nellum is outside, you cannot be outside. Do you understand? Your freedom is now curtailed to the degree that if you're at home and she happens to be outside, you need to turn around and either go back in at home or go to your car and drive away. It's as simple as that. You cannot say anything to her. You cannot reference her. You cannot be fanning your arms at her or anything like that. Absolutely no communication whatsoever. And if you happen to be outside your home, you need to stay at least 200 yards away from her. Thank you. Oh, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Thank you.
ACD, I go ahead.
Good afternoon, Judge Law. We're gonna have position number 14, Ms. Williams.
All right, good afternoon, Principal. And let's start with 14. This is Cassandra Williams, accused of simple battery family violence. Her case number is at 24CR 72758. Incident date appears to be October 24th of this year. Ms. Williams, I believe you have also been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Cook. Mr. Howard?
Ninth arrest, on probation out of Floyd County for DUI. That was as of June this year. 2019 probation, 2019 trespass NOLO, 2019 disorderly conduct conviction, shoplifting conviction from 2019, simple battery trespass giving false name NOLO 2019, and 2018 trespass NOLO.
Three NOLOs just in 2019 alone. And the DUI is in Floyd County?
Yes. How many arrests did you say from 2019?
I've got 3 NOLO by entries in 2019.
Oh, okay.
2 in
NOLO.
1.
3 out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So on October 24th of this year at 112 Case Lane in Fairburn. Officers spoke with the defendant, who advised her boyfriend. His name is spelled TREXZOPOLOIS, Turner.
My goodness.
The defendant advised that her boyfriend, Mr. Turner, had beat her up. She explained that they were arguing and that argument turned physical. Officers then spoke with Mr. Turner, and he advised that they did get into a physical altercation, but it started from the defendant wanting a phone back. He told officers it was gifted to him and it was not the defendant's. He stated that the defendant tried to throw a chair at him during this altercation. She also bit him during the altercation. We were able to speak with Mr. Turner, and he confirmed the events listed in the warrant. He stated that he would like contact with the defendant, and he also stated that they do have a domestic violence history. He also stated that she would need a police officer to retrieve her bag from the incident location. So the state's recommendation is a $2,000 cash bond to have no further contact with Mr. Turner, a one-time police escort to the incident location to retrieve all belongings, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. Is there a Mr. What was his name? T-Rex Turner? All right. Ms. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Williams is 24 years old. She has lived in Georgia all her life. She's not currently employed. Her highest level of education, based on our conversation, Your Honor, was 8th grade. So as we were talking about the details, she does deny that she was the initial aggressor here, and it's my understanding that she was actually acting in self-defense. She actually is okay with not having contact with the complaining witness. She does, in terms of like the address, she does have somewhere else she can go in Mableton, Georgia. So we would be asking the court, I believe, honestly, she believes she's going to have a hold as a result of getting arrested because she is on probation. She does, because she's not working and doesn't have any income, any amount of bond would be the equivalent of no bond for her at this particular moment. So we would be asking the court for a signature bond.
You do know she has a hold, or you think one is coming?
I don't think she has a hold yet. She believes that she's probably going to get a hold as a result once she reports that she's been arrested.
I've got an Alpharetta address on Odyssey. Is that where she lives? But the incident happened in Fairburn, so I'm a little confused.
Yeah, the incident happened in Fairburn. When I asked her for her address, she gave me the incident address location, and I told her more than likely the judge will have a stay away from the incident location, and she gave me a different address where she could stay, and I can provide that to the court. It's in Mableton, Georgia.
Ms. Cassandra Williams, what is your current mailing address other than Fairburn?
I
Do
used
you have one?
to-
Do you have one right now other than Fairburn?
I have an address in Mableton. I used to live in Alpharetta.
Okay, so the Alpharetta address on Odyssey is incorrect. Ms. Cassandra Williams, your bond is going to be $3,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 2. That means that you can sign up for your bond and you report to pretrial twice a month. If you have a probation hold in Floyd County because of your DUI probation, you need to make sure that pretrial is aware that why you might not be able to report if you have to report to probation. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Within 30 days of being released, you must provide this court with a valid mailing address in writing. So you need to confirm your mailing address and provide that to us in writing within 30 days. Within 30 days also, you must enroll in what we call a domestic violence intervention program. And this is a 26-week program that is authorized as a conditional bond in domestic violence cases. and you'll be required to enroll in one and attend all those classes. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, this is very important. If you get arrested again for anything else, this $3,000 signature bond will be converted to either a cash bond or a surety bond. So it'll be very beneficial to try to avoid any more infractions with the law. Your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. So if it's not Alpharetta, make sure you provide a new address in writing within 30 days. Thank you. Oh, and no further contact with T-Rex. Honestly, I'm sorry, Ms. Bickerstaff, I cannot pronounce that name. It's either T-Rex Zoopolis, something like that.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, he's not here to correct us, so. All right. Moving on. Next case, Deputy Francois.
Number 8, Pitts.
Harry Pitts is accused of giving false information to an officer from August 21st, 2023. Accusations 24 CR 7271F. Ms. Pitts, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Ms. Cook. Mr. Howard?
22. Last arrest was in September. Possession of meth. Possession of drug-related objects. October 17th. On probation out of Howard County for that stuff. 2020 DUI, 2016 shoplifting NOLO, 2015 FTA.
Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So on August 21st of 2023 at Emory Johns Creek Hospital, that's 6325 Hospital Drive, officers met with Nurse Murray, who stated that the defendant, who was a patient, had a warrant out at the time. When officers approached her and asked what her name was, she stated it was Christy Bray with a date of birth of February 4th, 1972. Then she stated the birthday was February 4th, 1978. Officers were able to confirm that that was not her name or her birthday. So for these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond, not surety bond, but signature on bond through the jail to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right. Ms. Cook, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. And Ms. Pitts, even though you're released on a signature bond through the jail, please remember that this is now another active case against you. So please report to court when summoned. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Law. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, Francois. Have a good Saturday. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Number 1, Bennett.
This is Damian Bennett, accused of fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, reckless driving, and operating a vehicle with a suspended, canceled, or revoked registration. Mr. Bennett, your accusation is 24 CR 7265E. You've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Yes, Mr. Howard?
Hey, what was the last bond?
Oh, it was a $1,000 signature bond through the jail for miscarrying.
Okay. Thank you. 6, 2022 FTA, 2022 child abandonment, and 2016 DUI conviction. That's it.
2022 FTA. Okay. Thank you. Ms.
My case, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Desiana?
Your Honor, this incident took place on December 30th of last year. Officers were patrolling traffic around Fulton Industrial Boulevard. They observed a 2020 Dodge Journey traveling west on Wendell Drive. The tag reader showed the vehicle's registration was suspended. The officer activated his lights and attempted a traffic stop. The vehicle fled, traveling at speeds over 70 miles per hour, swerving between lanes, following too closely, crossed 5 lanes of traffic without yielding to traffic, which caused several drivers to suddenly brake and have to maneuver around him to avoid colliding. He also nearly struck a concrete barrier. The officer stopped pursuing him at that point for the safety of the public. The officer then contacted the registered owner of the vehicle, who told the police that she let her friend borrow her car and gave the officers his identity and contact information. She also tried to contact him, but at that point he wasn't answering any longer. Your Honor, I believe you received an email from PD Atay stating this is a Riverside issue. The state does not believe this is a Riverside issue. From looking at his jailing documents, he was arrested somewhere in DeKalb County. PD says he was arrested by Doraville. I don't have any documentation to say that. But there is documentation from the DeKalb County Sheriff's Department notifying the Fulton County Sheriff's Department that the defendant was ready for pickup on these charges from DeKalb County. That was on the 25th. There's also a citation in the jailing record showing that the official citation for a wanted person that was signed yesterday. And of course, the Odyssey booking screen is showing that he was arrested and booked yesterday. So we would argue it's not a Riverside issue. The state's requesting a split bond, Your Honor, a 1,000 surety on the fleeing and looting, and a signature bond on the remaining charges. I'm sorry, a $1,000 surety bond on the fleeing and the reckless, so 2,000 total, and then a signature bond on the remaining charge. No driving without a valid license or registration, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
And was he booked on these warrants in Doraville?
I've tried to, they don't have an online docket, Your Honor, so I tried to look it up and I can't see anything.
Okay. Mr. Tate?
Your Honor, I did send over what I could find online that showed that he was arrested on October 23rd at 12 a.m. by Doraville PD. If he was then booked, transferred to DeKalb County, I would assume it's on the same foreign warrant on these warrants. So I believe it is a Riverside issue, and you know, the October 23rd arrest at 12 a.m. would have been for this same warrant. So I believe it is a Riverside issue. And
So he was arrested October 23rd. I'm looking at the calendar. For whatever incident in DeKalb County.
a foreign warrant.
A foreign warrant. Okay. Any other charges brought against him in Doraville?
No,
Your Honor, it sounds like he may have had multiple warrants.
I don't think so. The only thing listed there, if you follow the link that I sent, is just one charge, a foreign warrant. That's it. So I don't see any reason that this wouldn't be a Riverside issue.
And I'm sorry, I'm trying to see where you send that information.
I sent a link. It just shows, let me,
Your Honor, regardless, Riverside isn't triggered until he's in Fulton County's custody. Fulton County's records all show from the notification from DeKalb County, Odyssey, and the citation that the defendant was issued for this warrant are all dated the 25th.
he's been in custody since October 23rd, so it's not really.
So what would have been the due process procedures, Mr. Tay?
He needs to be seen. He needs to have a first appearance within 72 hours. And it's been more than that. You know, he was arrested by Doraville PD.
I know, and that's the question I have. Why was he arrested by Doraville PD? What was the situation? What was he booked in for?
This, I would assume it's this warrant and nothing else.
I'm not going to go by assumptions. I need to know, why did Doraville police arrest him?
Why was he in DeKalb County on this warrant? Doraville PD then transferred him to DeKalb County on this warrant, and DeKalb County transferred him to Fulton County on this warrant. So Doraville PD had him on this. This is the only foreign warrant that exists for him.
But there's no documentation that shows that he was picked up originally only on this warrant, Your Honor. And the documentation we do have, it all shows that he was booked in this jail on the 25th.
Okay.
I believe the state has access to see what he was booked into, what he was arrested by Doraville PD for.
On the
and Your Honor, I also would like to state that he is 35 years old. He is the father to 3 minor children, 17, 15, and 7. I did speak with the mother of the 17 and 15-year-old, who is the person who's the registered owner of the vehicle today. She states that she does not recall anything about this incident in December 2023. I asked her if he was driving the car. She said she does not recall whether he was driving the car. I don't think that there's, I mean, the police contacted her at that time and she said she loaned her vehicle to him, but she can't recall any of that right now. He says that they don't have that kind of relationship where she would loan him a vehicle She's just the mother to two of his children. They don't have a relationship outside of that. She would never loan him her car.
What kind of car does she drive?
The car that's listed in the warrant, the Dodge Journey.
Okay.
She stated that it is her car, but she doesn't recall anything about this, anything about telling the police that he was the one driving. I would ask, because I believe it's a Riverside issue and due to the nature of the allegations and how they came about, for a signature bond through the jail.
All right. I guess maybe Miss Jada Coleman would need to speak with the officer and refresh her memory about this alleged conversation she had with him. On the fleeing and attempting to elude, that's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. On the reckless driving, that's $1,000 surety. And the registration is going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. This is a $3,000 split bond.
Your Honor.
Next court date is November 7th. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance and proper registration, and per court order, he is not allowed to drive a 2020 silver Dodge Journey with the Georgia tag number CWP 5093. I'll just make it easy on Ms. Coleman and make sure that he knows by court order he's not allowed to touch a car. Thank you. Yeah.
I would ask for the reckless driving to be a signature bond through the jail.
And I'll be glad to do it as soon as I see a booking screen or a sheet or something that he was booked in Doraville and in DeKalb on only this warrant. I don't have anything right now. I have a booking date in Fulton County for October 25th on this charge. Thank you.
Hi, this is Miss Houston from Active Records. I was trying to see, was there an amended order done for Quillan Childress?
Childress?
Yes, it says that he has a Hall County hold, but we don't have proof of Hall County hold.
Who was representing Childress? I recall that. Was this from yesterday?
Yes, Your
Yes.
Honor, that was my case that I presented.
Yes.
And
Pre-trial, does he have, this is position 2 from yesterday?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay. I had a note that he was, he had a Hall County hold.
Yes, but he
License suspended.
Your Honor asked me where his failure to appear was from, and I remember saying Hall County.
Hold on, let me look. What's his name?
And then Your Honor ruled that he was to be released to the Hall County hold.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that he had a hold.
Okay.
Yeah, not showing on his record that he has a hold for them.
Okay, I'll be glad to amend that. Ms. Champion, do you recall that bond order? It was from yesterday's stack.
Yes, ma'am. I have to go pull it.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll get it for you. Hold on.
Thank you. All right, Deputy, we'll amend that if that may have been my error, but I can amend that. But it's still a $1,500 surety bond.
Yes,
Okay,
we just need the hold removed. That's it.
will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this Joseph Chardin?
No, this is number 4.
Number 4. Okay. This is Malik Gibson, accused of battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. Mr. Gibson, your case number is 24 CR 7267J. Incident date of these charges appears to be September 29th, 2024. Mr. Gibson, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors?
7. Got an open giving false name out of Coweta. That was as of last week on the 17th. 2012 probation, 2010 possession of a firearm by convicted felon. Simple assault conviction, 07 battery conviction.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, this is, I believe, the victim that you put in the waiting room, Miss Goodwin, Shantae Goodwin.
We can bring her back up now, as long as she puts a video on. You may proceed, Ms. Tessiano.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place about a month ago, September 30th. Officers responded to 311 Scott Street regarding a dispute that actually took place the day before on the 29th. The victim, Shantae Goodwin, stated that she called the police on the 29th. However, no one came, or she was on hold too long or something like that. So she called again the following day to report a dispute with her child's father, the defendant. She advised he came over to her residence. They had a heated argument, and he struck her in the face and pulled her hair. While I believe he was there initially to pick up their 15-year-old daughter that they share. Prior to leaving, he also damaged the victim's door handle. The victim had a laceration on her upper lip. We've been in touch with Ms. Goodwin today. She did confirm they have a now 16-year-old daughter together. They do not live together. The incident location is the victim's residence. She stated they do not have a DV history. She's not afraid of him. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She states that the argument went too far. She does want the defendant to take accountability as for what happened. And she also wants her door fixed, but she would like to continue contact. And Your Honor, given his arrest a couple days ago, and he does have priors for battery and simple assault, we're requesting a $2,500 surety bond, $2,000 on the battery, $500 on the trespass, no further violent contact with Ms. Goodwin, family violence intervention program, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol, and if Your Honor can sound for Ms. Goodwin.
All right, Ms. Goodwin, if you'd like to unmute. Do you have something to add? No? Okay, you can remain muted, please. Thank you. All right, Ms. Ate?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Gibson is 34 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He does have 3 minor children and 1 stepchild that he cares for. He is gainfully employed. He runs 2 businesses in Georgia and works in real estate. He does deny the allegations and states that the complaining witness was the first aggressor and he was defending himself. He states that the 16-year-old daughter who has lived with him since the incident in September when she called him because the complaining witness, her mother, was physically attacking her. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. And he's fine with no further contact with the complaining witness. And I would object to the FVIP.
Okay. I want to confirm he has a Clayton County hold. Mr. Howard?
Yes.
He has a Clayton County hold. I'm looking at the jailing screen. It says Clayton County hold.
All right, hold on.
On the battery family violence, that's going to be 2,500. On the that's going to be a surety bond. On the criminal trespass, that's going to be 500. That's a surety bond. Total bond is 3,000. That is a surety bond. No further contact with Shantae Goodwin. He's to stay 200 yards away from Miss Goodwin, not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, including phone, computers, third parties, and social media. He needs to file a legitimation action in order to seek a joint visitation or joint custody with any of the children that he shares with Ms. Goodwin, and then visitation can take place to a third party. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and firearms. And if he does make hold, according to the jailing screen, he can only be released to Clayton County.
It's a FTA traffic.
Okay. And Mr. Gibson, once you are released from both Fulton County and Clayton County, please make sure that if you change your address, you let the courts know first what is your current mailing address. Your next court date is going to be November 7th.
Position number 6.
All right, Ms. Goodwin, you're free to go. Thank you. This is Gary McAlvany, accused of terroristic threats and acts and a simple assault from December 9th, 2022. Mr. McAlvany, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is Ms. Ate. Any priors, please?
41. All right, you gotta bear with me. He got an open theft by taking, theft by conversion, battery out of Superior Court. You want the case numbers?
No, I got them. That's all right. Thank you.
All right, open case out of Coweta, felony obstruction, terroristic threats. Also, possession of a firearm by convicted felon or first offender. Fleeing, criminal use of an article with alter ID mark. On probation in Henry, ag battery. On probation in Coweta, violation of family violence order. 2022 probation, 2020 battery conviction, 2019 FTA. That's it.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, he also has another open battery case. He's got a felony battery case that's tied to some felony charges, and he also has an open battery in state court that is bench warrant status, 22 CR 7646. This incident took place December 9th, 2022. Officers were dispatched to the racetrack on Sonoya Road in Fairburn. The victim, Justin Rhodes, had relocated there after an incident at his grandmother's house on Golet Road. The victim and his wife, Savannah Driscoll, told officers that they were arguing at the victim's grandmother's house in the driveway when the victim's uncle approached them. And as he was approaching them, he asked him what he was doing. The defendant had a large hunting knife in his hand. The defendant then raised his hand, holding the knife toward the victim, and said, "I'll stab you right in the face, mother effer." The victim's wife then proceeded to call police, and the witnesses on scene advised that the grandmother at some point intervened as well, and apparently the defendant threatened to stab her too. Your Honor, we, of course, requested this case be upgraded to a felony based on the allegations in the warrant. The DA's office has declined to take it. I'm not sure why. We are asking for, given his criminal history and his previous convictions for ag battery and his open cases and several priors for terroristic threats. He has a $10,000 surety bond already. We're asking that that just remain as set. He have no contact with Mr. Justin Rhodes, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And Your Honor, if you could sound for Mr. Rhodes. We have not been in touch with him today.
Justin Rhodes, if you're on Zoom, this will be the time to unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. Tate.
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't able to get in touch with the complaining witness. He is currently in prison. According to my client. My client is 49 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He's the father to 2 minor children. He does work on his family's farm in Palmetto, Georgia, where he lives, in exchange for room and board. He has no income and can't afford a bond. Right now, he has a $6,000 failure to appear bond and $10,000 on this terroristic threats and acts. This incident occurred almost 2 years ago, and he has a Henry County hold. Any bond for him is like no bond at all. I would ask for a signature bond so that he can be released to the Henry County hold. And if Your Honor is willing, I would like to lower the failure to appear bond of $6,000 is excessive. He does have a good mailing address. He's lived in Georgia all his life. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant, states that he was defending himself and that the complaining witness, who is now in prison, was the first aggressor and attacked him. Nothing further.
All right. On the terroristic threats and acts, is going to be 1,000. Simple assault is 1,000. No further contact with Justin Rhodes. And both cases are going to be reset to the SAP calendar. So that's a $2,000 surety plus the $6,000 on his bench warrant. And Ms. Champion, did you have the other case number? 22 CR 007646F.
Yes, ma'am.
If he does make bond on either the bench warrant or this case or both, then he shall be only released to the Henry County hold. Thank you.
Position number 2.
2. Okay. This is Joseph Chardin, accused of public drunkenness and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from October 25th of this year. Accusation is 24 CR 7272F. Mr. Chardin, you've been advised to be right. Your attorney is Ms. Cook. And priors are?
Third, 2015 public intoxication dismissed. 07 furnishing alcohol below legal age, dismissed.
Okay. Ms. Daciano?
Your Honor, this
Oh,
is
sorry, Ms.
regulated.
Bickerstaff, sorry.
Yes, no problem. On October 25th of this year at 11 Hotel, that's 2715 Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, officers responded to an intoxicated subject in the lobby to do a welfare check on that person. Officers spoke with an hotel employee who explained that the defendant was intoxicated in the hotel lobby and he fell in the lobby. Employees determined that the defendant was not a registered guest to the hotel. When officers arrived, they asked the defendant, was he staying there? They asked for his email address. They asked whether he had a room key. And the defendant kept saying, what do you want to do? Officers noted that the defendant grew agitated and the defendant stepped toward one of the officers' chest and uttered effing P word. Officers attempted to detain the defendant and he resisted arrest to the point where an officer had to do a leg sweep to get him to the ground to arrest him. So given these reasons and his history, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on both counts, and for the defendant to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
And what was the name of this facility or this?
It was the 11 Hotel, and it's located at 2715 Old Milton Parkway.
Okay. Ms. Cook, anything to add?
Yes, Judge. My client is 36 years old. He's married, no children. He's originally from Georgia. He received a bachelor's degree from University of Georgia in 2010. It's my he currently lives or resides, Your Honor, in Washington, D.C., where he works with a consulting firm. Although I don't think, my understanding is that he doesn't have any convictions. I believe pretrial said that his 2015 was dismissed. And I'm not sure what they said about the prior one, which was 2007. Nevertheless, Judge, he is presumed innocent unless until the state can meet his burden of proving his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Purpose of bond is to make sure that he shows up for court and he's not a risk to himself or others. It's my understanding from the client that he's actually supposed to fly back home to DC tomorrow morning. So we are asking the court, giving his limited criminal history, for a signature bond with conditions of no drugs or alcohol while on bond if judge sees fit to do that, and nothing further.
So I have a Peachtree City address on Odyssey, so he's no longer lives in Georgia?
My understanding is that he has worked in Washington, D.C. since 2012 at a consulting and worked with a consulting firm. So, and I have a D.C. address that he provided to me.
All right, if you can send that to Ms. Champion, please, we'll need to update that. On the public drunk is 500, on the willful obstruction is 1,500, his bond is 2,000. It's a surety bond. His next court date is November 7th. If he makes bond, please remember upon release, he needs to confirm that we have his valid mailing address. He is to stay 200 yards away from the 11 Hotel at 2715 Old Milton Parkway. He's not allowed to enter their premises, otherwise he'll be arrested for trespass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position number 7.
State versus Benny McIntosh, accused of criminal trespass and causing damage to property from June 10th, 2024, under accusation 24 CR 7273H. Mr. McIntosh, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors, Mr. Howard? I think I saw 4. Was it 4?
41.
Oh, 41. Okay.
On
Sorry.
probation out of Toccoa, suspended license, driving without a valid license. On probation out of Carroll County, harassing phone calls. He's wanted out of there for probation violation. 2024 probation, 2021 simple battery DV conviction, 2018 battery DV cruise in the first.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Daciano?
Your Honor, this incident happened on June 10th of this year. Officers responded to the Economy Hotel located at 4264 Shirley Drive regarding damaged property. The assistant manager at the location reported that the defendant ripped the sink out from the wall in the laundry room and then also took apart the wood stairs outside of the location. The defendant was then found in one of the rooms in 339. The state's requesting a $1,500 surety bond, a BHET, a stay away, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Thank you.
Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 30 years old. He does have 3 minor children, ages 12, 10, and 11. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He was working in landscaping, but he actually has been incarcerated since June 19th when he was arrested by Elberton County. He was then transferred to Holds and Hart and Toccoa and Carroll County, where he does have that probation hold now for not reporting to probation while he's been in custody since June 19th. So he now has to go back to Carroll County for not reporting to probation during the time that he's been in custody, although he wasn't supposed to report until he's released from custody. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. I would ask, of course, since he's been incarcerated since June 19th, he cannot afford any bond at all. The bond is right now set at $1,000 surety bond. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services on this case so that he can be released to the Carroll County hold where he was, he was just there, served 8 days and released to probation and has a probation violation now.
Okay, thank you. Bond is set at $1,500 is a surety bond. Stay away from the Economy Hotel on Shirley Drive. No alcohol, no illegal drugs, and no weapons. Next court date is November 7th.
Position number 11.
Mr. Taj Jamil Red is accused of the following offenses: driving, hit and run, failure of the driver to return to the scene of the accident, and reckless driving. Mr. Red, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Cook. Your accusation number is 24 CR 7274E.
First,
Okay. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So on July 15th, or I'm sorry, June 15th, 2024, at 615 Marietta Street, the defendant struck a utility pole. The damage to the vehicle was disabling and significant. The officer noted the damages suggested that the car was traveling at a rate of speed above the posted limit. The defendant made no efforts to render aid to the 2 passengers who were in the car who required a Grady transport. They both identified the defendant as the driver. Their names are Elante Parker and Tamisha Hightower. I'd like to sound for them at the appropriate time, Your Honor. The car that is the 2014 BMW, it was registered to the defendant. Elante Parker, we had the opportunity to speak with him. He confirmed the events in the warrant, and he was getting us over insurance documents and medical documents for where he had to stay out of the hospital. He did inform us that he just got out of a back brace due to this incident. So due to that, the state's recommendation is a $4,000 surety bond, $2,000 on each charge, for the defendant to take a defensive driving course and to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Red is 28 years old. His highest level of education completed is a bachelor's degree from Georgia Southern University. He's originally from Louisiana, moved to Georgia as a result of Hurricane Katrina in 2005. It's my understanding he has no criminal history, Your Honor, and he is 28, which does, I think, speak volumes to who he is. We would be asking the court for a signature bond on this case. This is his first arrest. And so at a trial or at a later date, he can definitely continue to fight the allegations against him.
All right. On the hit and run, it's going to be 1,500. And on the reckless driving is 1,000. His total bond is 2,500. It's a surety bond. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. And his next court date is going to be November 7th.
The next position is 16.
Howard Worthy is accused of battery family violence from September 29th, 2024. Mr. Worthy, your case number is 24 CR 7268C. You've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
7. 2014 suspended license. 2013 trespass conviction.
Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So on September 29th of this year at 4555 Washington Road, officers spoke with a Miss Kirsten Burns, who explained that she was locked out of her house. I'm sorry if my background, if you hear that, but
No.
she explained that she was locked out of her house and she shares with the defendant. She left her house to go to a friend's house, and the defendant came and saw her outside with a male. The defendant exited his car and he began pulling Miss Burns outside of her car, and he pulled her wig off. The officer noted that he observed scrapings on her right elbow. The defendant fled the scene before officers arrived. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond and to have no further contact with Miss Kirsten Burns, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Worthy is 36 years old. He is definitely okay with the no contact provision with the complaining witness, Ms. Burns. In all honesty, Your Honor, he denies the allegations as alleged in the warrants against him. It's my understanding that recently Ms. Burns actually vandalized his vehicle several times.
Oh, was he arrested too?
I'm not sure if she was arrested. No, okay, no. So she wasn't arrested, but it's my understanding that she did it once. He cleaned it off, and then she came back to the apartment complex and did it again. So he's definitely okay with not having any contact with her. We're asking the court for an unsecured judicial release as it relates to these charges. I don't believe he has anything violent in his history, is my understanding. He again is adamant or denies the allegations and believes that she was actually the initial aggressor in this situation. So we would be asking the court for a signature bond.
All right. Bond is set at 3,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. He's to have no further contact with Kirsten Burns. And if I don't know if they still live together in Hapeville. No? Okay. As long as they don't live together, that's fine then. He is to have no further contact with Ms. Burston, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Within 30 days of being released, he must enroll in a DBIP program. And that is a 26-week program that we would need to start his classes at his expense. This is a condition of his bond and not a condition of the adjudication of the case. Please remember to report to pretrial twice a month. And if you get arrested again while you are out on a signature bond to pretrial, your pretrial bond will be revoked and amended to a surety bond. Thank you. No weapons too. Thank you.
Number 13, Whitehead.
Number 13, here we go. Do I pronounce this as Michael or Michelle?
He said Michael.
Michael, okay. Michael Whitehead is accused of violations of rules regarding pedestrian and roadway, obstructing a highway, street, or sidewalk, and reckless conduct. Accusation 24 CR 7270C. Mr. Whitehead, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Cook. Does he have any?
15.
Okay. I was going to ask you if he had any open cases from his 15 cycles.
I see a 2022 battery DV arrest. I don't know the disposition. 2021 battery conviction, 2017 probation, 2014 FTA. His last arrest was for riot and simple battery. That was dismissed. And he
Okay,
had a 2023 ag assault dismissed.
thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So on October 25th, yesterday of this year, at 232 Forsyth Street, officers observed the defendant walking or wandering in the middle of the street while screaming at a crowd. The defendant then used City of Atlanta barricades to block the lanes on the street of ongoing traffic, and the defendant at the Greyhound bus station. So given all this, the state's recommendation is a $1,500 signature on bond through pretrial services. It's $500 on each count, and for the defendant to stay away from the incident location, 232 Forsyth Street, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, I just want to confirm with pretrial, he's got a Clayton County hold as well. At least that's what I see in the
He
document.
does. All right, hold on. Let me see something.
All right, Ms. Cook?
The state's recommendation was a signature bond.
Yes.
Mhm.
Your Honor, we will be asking the court to go along with that recommendation. Mr. Whitehead is 31. He's completed high school, some college, been in Georgia for last 20 years. And so any cash amount he wouldn't be able to afford at this moment anyway. So we are asking the court to go along with the $1,500 signature bond.
It's
All right.
a probation hold for assault.
All right. On each count is going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. And this is a release through the Clayton County hold only. All right, Mr. Whitehead, this is still an open and active case against you, but you're getting a release bond in order to report to your probation hold in Clayton County. Once you're released, please remember to maintain a current address or keep in communication with the Public Defender's Office for your next court date. Thank you. Oh, and stay away 200 yards away from the area identified as 232 Forsyth Street. So that's a pretty crowded area, so that's quite a big spot that you would have to avoid. Thank you.
Was add-on 1 and 2?
This is State versus Christopher Audister, accused of 2 separate counts of theft by taking. One's under accusation 24 CR 7281G. Incident date appears to be October 10th, 2024. The second theft by taking is under accusation 24 CR 7282G from an incident date of September 27, 2024. Mr. Audister, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Satay.
96. On probation for 2 counts of robbery. 23 SC 191063. He got a lot of theft convictions. You want me to go through them?
No, we're good. Thank you. Desiana?
Your Honor, the first incident took place on the 27th, the second on the 10th. These are both involving theft of electric scooters. In the first case, the victim is Joshua Delamar. He reported to police that his scooter and charger were stolen from the GSU property of Patent Hall at 160 Edgewood Avenue. There was security footage from this incident, shows the defendant. Of course, given the number of cycles that he has, law enforcement's familiar with him. In the second case, a citizen called 911 to report that a male was removing a locked scooter from a bike rack at the intersection of the Georgia State T-Deck and 55 Parks Place. They gave a description of the male. The officers responded. They found a male man matching that description walking down the street with a scooter. The officer asked the defendant where he got it. He said he got paid $40 and got it off of an unknown person. He agreed to show the officer where the unknown person was, and when the officer went to secure the scooter in his trunk in his patrol vehicle, the defendant fled the scene at that time. A short time later, the victim approached the officer because he was tracking his scooter and was inquiring because the scooter was pinging at the location they were. His name is Samuel Avila. The defendant was identified in both cases through the officers in security footage and body cam footage. We've not been in touch with either victim today, Your Honor. We have requested this case be upgraded based on the recidivism. In Fulton County alone, he's got 5 prior theft convictions. He has several more in other counties as well. And it looks like he was in Fulton County Jail for quite some time and just released in July. And he's got a hold for Clayton County, is my understanding as well. So we've been out of jail about 2 or 3 months and have already gotten arrested 3 or 4 more times. So the state at this point, Your Honor, is recommending a high surety bond or a cash bond on both cases, a stay away from all Georgia State campus properties, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And if Your Honor can sound for the victims in this case, they are Samuel Avila and Joshua Delamar.
Yeah, we don't have anyone else except courthouse staff. All right, Ms. Tate?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 52 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He states that he's been homeless since the age of 12. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He has a probation violation hold, so he'll be in Fulton County anyway for until he has a hearing for that. He cannot afford any bond. He is homeless, although he just recently started working for a moving company. But I would ask for a signature bond or the lowest surety bond possible because he cannot afford any bond at all, Your Honor. And he also has a hold.
Bond set $1,000 on each count. That's a surety bond. To stay away from all GSU property, no contact with the victims. He's not allowed on any of the Georgia State University property, and that's quite a huge spot. So, Mr. Auditor, once you make bond, you are to be released to the Clayton County hold only. Thank you. Deputy, are we any more cases?
That's it.
All right. I have the attorneys. We'll just go over the calendar position. Well, on the add-on calendar, it's $1,000 on each count, so it's $2,000 surety. Next court date is November 7th, with a release to Clayton County hold only. Position 1, Bennett, is a $3,000 split bond, reset November 7th, along with another open case. Position 2, Chardin, is a $2,000 surety bond, reset to November 7th. Position 3, Dobie, is a $500 surety bond, reset to, oh, I'm so sorry. I think it's it's a $500 surety bond, and she's got a $4,500 surrendered bond. So she's got a total of 5,000 surety. Either event is reset to November 2nd. 4, Gibson's $3,000 surety, reset to November 7th. 5, McClure is a $1,500 surety, reset to November 7th. 6, McAlvany is a $2,000 surety bond, reset to November 7th, along with his other open case. Position 7, McIntosh, is a $1,500 surety, reset to November 7th. 8, Pitts is a $1,000 surety, reset to November 7th. Position 9, Presley. For Presley, position 9 is a $1,500 signature bond, and position 10 is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Position 11, Red, and that's going to be a $2,500 surety bond, reset November 7th. 12, Staten's a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 13, Whitehead's a $3,000 signature bond through the jail with the release to Clayton County. 14, Williams is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 15 Woodard is a 3,000 signature bond to pretrial level 1. And 16 Worthy is a $3,000 signature bond to pretrial level 2 with DVIP.
Your Honor, on position 13, I think it was a 1,500 signature bond through
15?
through the jail.
No, it's 15.
I
No,
thought it was 1,000 each.
no,
500 each.
15 is Rosa Woodard. Who are we talking about?
I'm asking about position 13. I
Oh,
think
13, excuse me. Let me go to 13. This is a 3,000, yeah, it's $1,000 each. It's a 3,000 signature bond through the jail with a release to Clayton County hold.
I thought I wrote down 1,500, 500 each signature bond through the jail.
No, 1,000 each. Did I say 500?
You said
No,
1,000
ma'am.
each.
You
That's
said
what I got.
1,000 each, $3,000 sign-on bond through the jail.
I had that for, I had what you said, Judge Law. But I do have a
sorry.
question for position 8. You
Yes.
did say $1,000 signature bond through the jail for Carrie Pitts, right?
Just 1 second. Ms. Ate, did we clarify your question?
I maybe wrote it wrong. I put 1,500 signature bond through the jail.
I totally understand. I do that all the time. So I just want to be sure that you and I are on the same page. Whitehead has a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, 1,000 on each count.
Oh, okay. And then I also was going to ask about position 8.
Okay, let's go back to position 8. And that is Carrie Pitts is $1,000 surety bond.
I got
I
1,000
have
SOB jail.
signature.
Or
Yeah.
SOB jail? Okay, so this
I
is,
have SOB jail too.
okay. I literally have an S and a squiggle, so sorry, it's a signature bond through the jail then. All right, anything else? No? Are we all, okay, as long as we're all on the same page then, that's good. All right, folks, and then we will also amend Childress's bond to remove the release to Clayton County or whichever county.
Hall County.
Hall County, okay. All right, folks, y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the weekend. Take care.
Thank you, too, Judge.